total of 27 robots for the film. Most of them, 21 of those were background robots, but then there was the 3 main robots that were Hugh Jackman's robots in the movie, and that's sort of what the delineation was. We tried to figure out what would be most important would be the ones that Hugh and Dakota, who plays Max, his son in the movie, would interact with. So it was Adam, and then there was Noisy Boy, and then Ambush, who's not here. He's on tour elsewhere. But so what we were tasked with was, building these robots, and we started out with designs that were done by Tom Meyer and his production art team. He was a production designer on the film, and he had worked with Sean Levy, coming up with the basic concepts. And then when we got hold of those, mostly did a lot of 2D renderings, very simple CG robots, but we needed to really sculpt these things. And every single one of these parts were sculpted in the computer, and they average about 350 parts on each robot. So it was quite a task. We couldn't even done this job many years ago in the window that we're being, told that it needed to be built in, because we spent 5 weeks on computer design, and then we had about 4 months to build these robots before they had to be shot. So our own computer pipeline of taking these, and designing out the parts and rapid prototyping them, whether the parts were grown or whether they were milled, really expedited us getting this done in a hurry. But, not sacrificing any of the art or the quality. So in each one of these, after they were rapid prototyped out, they were hand finished, to get the look of whatever it would be. This guy looking like a show car or a race car. Adam, he was fished out of a junkyard. And then Ambush kind of has the look of like an old rusted car sitting out in the desert. So each one then had to be finished. All those parts were molded, and then they had to be cast up and then assembled. And when we were doing our computer designs, we were also trying, laying in all of the bone structure and joints of how these things would move, and also put in a very a tight little hydraulics package in there. Greg, are we up by chance? So what we decided to do was to put a hydraulic movement in for all the head and neck, so it would be very precise. And for something of this size, it was the way to go, because you couldn't really do that with cables or RC. His hands are RC. All of the other joints and points of movement on him are rod puppeted or reactive. So he could move around, but the head needed to be very precise, because we shared the same mechanism in all the robots, but it was really important with Adam, because Dakota's character Max really has to relate to him, and he has a shadow function of being able to do whatever Dakota would do, and he needed to do that in real time, because Mike's back there working his head with that telemetry device, which then feeds through the computer, which then is running those signals to the hydraulics. But we had to make it a very compact, quick and easy thing, like a pit crew. We had to get in like 10 minutes and set one of these up. So we built a very small pump. We had learned all this technology back in my days with Stan Winston when we were doing the Jurassic Park movies. But what we needed to do is make it very compact and sized down and set friendly for today's movie sets, which fast and impatient. But I think it became a really important tool, to aid in a performance for a young actor, to give Hugh something to react to, and then it was really important to give Eric Nash and all the digital domain guys great reference, because even shots that these puppets weren't going to be ultimately used in, we brought them through the frame, and they gave them great photographic reference for them to match to. And I think it's a testament to how this film started off. I mean, it was well thought out from the beginning. Concentrated on figuring out early on, you know, what I was gonna do, what Eric was gonna do. All of the effects team was very united in its thought on how we're gonna execute this. And Sean was on board, and Steven Spielberg, who was the executive producer, you know, wanted to have some of this, you know, real interaction in the movie, you know, to help anchor it and to give it, in this guy's case, you know, really give him some heart and soul. I mean, he is a performer in the movie.
So you made 2 of each?
We made 2 of each. There would be, he's also a ham, as you can see. But there was a hero version of Adam, then there was a stunt version. And there's a scene when he's brought out the junkyard and he's covered in mud, and then he gets washed down and all of those things. We actually put real mud and hose these things down. But the stunt one was used for the same thing you'd use a stuntman for, getting punished and dropped and all of those kind of things. Ambush really took a beating. He was thrown around, he was thrown into a wall and up in the air to simulate the bull thrashing him. But, so there was a stunt version and then a hero version.
And was his arm ripped off?
With this guy's arm gets ripped off. And unfortunately, this guy, we didn't have a stunt version of him. I wish we would have. But we had another version where he was sort of truncated down. Because when you first open him and see him in the box, he's short. And then he expands up, you know, which is a fun gag, but it left us a little short-handed in the ring with one that we could throw around. This one actually, we did disassemble parts and tossed it around. And Greg back there on the computer, he had all these Japanese characters where they could flash different things and had different meanings and whatever, and there's like 600 LEDs in each one that he programmed. And when that arm goes spinning, it actually flashes the end before it goes out. It's just a funny touch there.
Were there a lot of like malfunctions on set?
No,
That's good.
absolutely not.
Good.
It's a testament to a great crew. There were 70 people building and working in the shop, and then there was always a core group of 6 on set. And, you know, from the get-go, it was our planning, you know, this needs to be bomb-proof, bulletproof. We can't get into any of that kind of thing.
Are they made out of plastic?
Each one is about 350 parts. Some of it's machined metal. There's like 150 some odd parts that were just purely machined. Brian, who's in here somewhere, he did a lot of that work. There he is. But they're a plastic. After they were rapid prototype, each one was molded, and then they're cast. They're actually quite hollow.
Looks so real.
Thank you. It was a lot of our experience on the Iron Man movies and Terminator Salvation, really developing these lightweight urethanes that, and paint treatments that look real on. Yeah, but they're actually pretty lightweight. There's like 250 pounds for one of these guys. He's 7'6", he's 8'6".
And they only weigh 250 pounds?
Only 250 pounds, yeah.
Only.
But for something that big, it was actually quite an achievement.
Is it fiberglass? Is that fiberglass?
No, mostly urethane. There is some fiberglass on there, like these here are urethane as well, I believe. Mike, were those
Fiberglass reinforced urethane.
fiberglass reinforced? But most of the parts on these guys, it's pretty light casting of urethane, which is very durable. Although we did press that with Ambush to find out exactly how durable he was, but he held up by a miracle. Any other questions?
You mentioned Iron Man as being a helpful sort of beginner influence. You guys also did the suits for G.I. Joe.
Yes, we did.
Did that sort of help? I can see.
Yeah, all of that. You know, you keep learning and you grow. Like we took some of the technology from the Jurassic Parks, but found a way to make it more compact and user friendly. All of those movies that you're developing materials, you're trying to figure out, all right, what are we going to do next time to make it better? And you know, you learn and you grow. And this was a culmination of a lot of that knowledge.
For the ultimate Christmas gift, if somebody wanted Noisy Boy like that,
At
you know,
least
under the tree.
$25 is what it's good. No, they're pretty expensive. I mean, you got to think of all the labor that's going inside one of these, and just to rapid prototype out all the parts and the design. I mean, they're expensive, but the trade-off is it gives you, not only do you get shots out of it, but then tangible assets for what we're doing here, and then, you know, on-set reference. I think they pay for themselves. Sequel's coming, and he'll be back, right? Right, Adam?
Yeah. To that point, I was gonna say to that point, I've already seen in the stores toys, action figures. Do the toy companies come to you for
Well,
designs? and
what happened on this, which is, you know, using, when we sculpted all of these digitally, all those digital assets then, because every one of these parts is finished inside and out, because we had a rapid prototype then. That information went to Eric Nash and his guys, so they started with the same thing that we were, and then all the toy companies and all that, they use all those assets.
And just miniaturize them.
Yes. Well,
Simplify them.
and simplify them. I mean, what they're doing with them
Is not 350 parts.
not 350 parts. No. I mean, just the intricate. You can just see how layered and all that is. And that was part of the design that Sean wanted, was to be able to kind of see through them.
Like on his hand, they look like batteries or something. What, right there?
All the details.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're done, you should come and take a look at all of the detail that went into this. You know, from Sean's subliminal little face that he wanted on Adam to, you know, every aspect is just loaded with texture and detail. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.